Hey everybody, Tom Barnes, stories from the 78. Happy Halloween, everybody. And what goes hand in hand with Halloween than Stranger Things? And I have my friend Alejandro here talk about the Byers House from the television show Stranger Things that's on Netflix. I believe the fifth and final season's coming out sometime in 2025. The good news is that they've actually started filming that, but the Byers House is a huge part, especially in the early seasons of Stranger Things. How you doing, Alejandro?
I'm doing really good. Thanks for having me on. Excited to be chatting.
Yeah, and you now have an option for people to own part of this house, which is a real house. I believe it's in, is it in Georgia? Did I get that right?
Yeah, it's right outside of Atlanta, Georgia.
Look at that. So how do walk me through this? How do people come to own something that is such at this point, I feel like it's like almost Hollywood royalty to own something from such a massive show that is Stranger Things.
Yeah, so a couple years ago, the house where they filmed a lot of the exterior shots and they took a lot of the inspiration for the interiors of the Byers house on the show came up for sale. And I've always been a huge Stranger Things fan since the first season came out. I was, grew up in the 80s, so I love all that nostalgia
Yeah, me too.
and love the show. And when I saw the house come up, I thought, wow, wouldn't it be cool if we could buy that house, really, you know, renovate it and have the interior look like, how it was in the show, and then turn it into a vacation rental that anybody could travel to. And that was kind of the first idea of like, hey, we could do something really special for fans like myself that love the show. And then I'm a co-founder of Arrived, a company that helps people invest into real estate. So we basically
Hmm.
take rental homes, fractionalize them, and then allow anybody to buy shares starting at $100. And it was the perfect fit for that because we said, like, not only could people stay at the buyer's house and, reenact the scenes and have all that fun, but also if they're big fans, they can invest $100 and own a share of that home. And we thought it was a really fun opportunity, kind of like, there's all this movie memorabilia out there. People love buying stuff from the shows. Imagine if you owned a piece of the actual set used. So that idea gave way to this project that we've been working on for 2 years, and we're so excited to finally have it out and out in public.
So if you're like an ultra fan, can you buy more than $100 in shares? Like, does more shares get you like more time to be able to spend at the house? How does that work?
Yeah, so in terms of spending time at the house, the property is available on Airbnb. So
Hmm.
anybody could go in. You don't have to own shares in the home. You can book
Oh,
it. We have our first check-in today. So somebody booked a 3-day Halloween extravaganza trip that we're excited to hear about.
good for
Yeah, so
them.
anybody could book it on Airbnb. In terms of investment, so right now we set $100 maximum investment because we wanted more fans to be able to participate. So
Mm.
typically, homes on our platform, when we put them up for sale, they could fund in a couple hours. And just with our existing investors, we were thinking that we could probably fund this property. So we wanted to get new fans of the show in. So we said $100 maximum, and so you can't really buy more. And yeah, fans will get a share of the rental income. So from the proceeds that come from Airbnb, those will go to the fans, to the owners, and some of the proceeds might go to upkeep of the property, maybe some like new amenities. There's a couple of things we'd love to add to the property over time. So it's a living and breathing uh, 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 property.
So like I'm a Joe Schmo. How do I do this? Like this sounds like I'm like when I'm done with you, I'm going to hang up the call and I'm going to go to a website that you're going to tell me in a second, and I'm going to hopefully see if I can be able to purchase my share.
Yeah, so website's arrive.com. If you go to arrive.com, you'll see all of our properties. The buyers right now is pretty prominent there. We link to the Airbnb listing for the property. So if you want to check out the property and explore staying there, you can from there. And if you want to buy shares, you could do that as well. We're open to non-accredited investors, accredited. Anybody that's a U.S. resident is able to, connect a bank, pay $100 and be a formal owner of this house.
That's super cool and good for you guys for allowing fans who might not have like a portfolio or even know what a portfolio might be, or not have a huge investment, capital, right? To be able to be part of something so special for so many people, like this isn't something that's just an upper echelon thing. $100, it's still an investment for some and maybe bigger than others. But either way, you create an opportunity for people to be able to buy something that they could be proud of and think it's really cool and be a part of this bigger community that is like the Stranger Things universe.
Yeah, yeah, we're excited. Our we found it arrived really with the mission of democratizing ownership of property. So making sure that we did that for this property was important. We didn't want two, three wealthy folks to come in and buy it and use it as their personal, vacation home. I don't know, but
Right. No, I didn't want to say all that, but that's exactly what I was thinking. Was it difficult to get, working with like Netflix to get the property? I mean, I imagine it wasn't easy to convince them, to be okay with this, to call it the Byers House or whatnot. I mean, was that, or was it just something that was actually a lot easier than you had thought?
Yeah, so we approached Netflix pretty early on saying like, hey, we have this idea that we'd love to do. We've been in contact with them. They gave us a lot of guidelines around, what we could do and could not do. So the project is not affiliated with Netflix.
Right.
And we're, really uh we want to make sure that we are very respectful of kind of those guidelines and that they know that this is a fan driven, fan owned project. And so, for example, at the property, we don't have, stills of the actors or shots of the show. You could watch the show on the TV under the Christmas lights, right? But
Very
like
cool.
we were very careful on the decoration because we have a lot of love and respect for the Stranger Things brand, and we wanted to make sure that Netflix, the Duffer Brothers, were okay with how we were presenting this, right? So really, how do we make something special for fans, and how do we make it be inspired by the show in a way that works for everybody? So yeah, it was something we really cared a lot about.
Now, how does that even become available? Like, did they just find the house randomly, like a scouting location person found it, bought it for the show, or asked to film it there, and then somehow it became available for purchase?
Yeah, so Atlanta is something I've recently learned. It's actually a very popular movie and television filming area. I think there's something about some like state tax breaks that make it very accessible for lots of shows to be filmed there. So they have a lot of TV studios, indoor sets. There's a really cool place called Trilith Studios
Hmm.
where they have not only studios for filming, but a lot of like housing and restaurants for the actors, crew, etc. That's about 10 minutes away from this property. So
Oh, wow.
they filmed Stranger Things in this area, and they must have been looking for a property that was close by so that they could film these external shots. Um, and they found this house. I mean, the house was it's a really old house. I think it was built in like 1898 or
Oh,
1900,
wow.
something like that. And it had that creepy vibe that I'm guessing they were looking for. So they decided to film there. The house and the houses around it were all owned by one family,
Hmm.
which they're actually really kind people that we've been in contact with. So they decided, I think it's seven siblings, they decided that this house, because it was featured in the show, they were going to sell it. And and yeah, so they owned the property when it was filmed. Then the show finished filming, they sold the property, and that's when we bought it. And we said like, hey, we'd love to turn this into a place that will live for many years, so that many fans can enjoy it for a while.
Very cool stuff. Again, people can buy the share at which website again?
Arrived.com.
And then is it just for sale until there's none left type thing? Or like should people get on it sooner and later is what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's going to be for sale until it sells out. Right now, we have the $100 maximum just to make sure that everybody has an opportunity that wants. At some point, we're going to raise that maximum and let some larger dollars come through. because yeah, roughly we could fit about 12,000 investors. I think the first couple hours we got 3,000, so it's funding, but again, we're slowly wanting it to fund so that more people get a chance. But yeah, we still are not sure at what point we raise the maximum, but at some point we will to help it finish funding.
Very cool stuff. I look forward to seeing this spot on Airbnb. I want to check out the listing right now, and then maybe I'll be able to get down there and see this place in person. But either way, such a cool thing that you guys are doing, and in making it a twist on how somebody can be a part of it, both for the Airbnb standpoint or ownership, which again, something that you don't hear about too often, which is why this is a very cool story. So thank you for taking time to chat with me. I do appreciate it very much.
Thank you, Tom. Really appreciate your support.